Good day, everybody. This is John Scarborough. Today I'm working on this excavator for a customer. The excavator came in. It's actually got a pin that they were no longer able to grease. The pin is right here. They couldn't get grease to take in this pin right here, and as a result they just ended up continuing to use it, and it's all wore out. They couldn't get it out. So today we're going to have to try to fix that. We got to get that pin out, try to fix it. But we also are going through, there's a couple other places on here. A lot of these places right in here are fairly, they're not easy, but they're not bad to grease. Like, they've really come out with some good designs. You can grease fairly easily. But a lot of these down in here, if you look at this grease zerk right here, you see this one right here, and then there's another one back here. Come over here and look. That one right there, where I'm pointing my finger at. And then of course where this one was right here. A lot of these, because of this blade, they just get hammered with dirt. There's another one right there. And you can tell that they've got all this protection around them because they're just constantly getting hammered, okay? So these grease zerks, they're getting so much dirt around them, sometimes they can get, a lot of times people will actually forget that they're there because they're covered with dirt. This thing will be so filled up with dirt that you can't even see that it's there. Whatever the case may be, it's either from neglect or whatever. Some of these grease zerks are no longer taking grease, just like this one right here was so bad that the customer just stopped greasing it completely because he had to get his job done, okay? I'm gonna try it. I got a product sent to me and I wanna see if it's gonna be any good. I have not personally tested this product. I don't know if it's gonna be any good. Y'all are gonna find out with me, and I'm just gonna let you make your own decision on the product. I'm not gonna tell you whether it's a great product or not. I'm gonna tell you what I personally see as I discover it, and it's gonna be something that you can find out with me. And we'll just decide together whether it's any good. And this is BuildMaven, if I'm saying that right. This is their product. They sent it to me. I do like the design right off the bat. It seems pretty nice. It works off compression. So you open this up, you fill that up, put that back in there, and you take a hammer and use the hammer to beat that in there. So this actually would go into your fitting, over your fitting like that, compress over it, and then you would force fluid, a thinner fluid, down in there to clean out that grease zerk, because a lot of us have been through that. We'll get to a grease zerk, it's messed up, and we can't get it cleaned out. We've got to get it greased. And you know, unfortunately, I wish I could say that it was easy. We could just go to the store and buy grease zerks, but a lot of times, especially for some of my older Massey Ferguson tractors and stuff, it's not as easy as it might seem to just go buy a grease zerk. Sometimes the hole's not the right size, sometimes it's a grease zerk we can't quite find. Not saying that you can't get it done fairly easily, but it's not just a, hey, let me get it done in 30 minutes and get back to work. So sometimes it really throws you off. So it is nice, this principle of being able to clean this out. Now, right off the bat, before I did a review on this, I wanted to talk to some people and get their perspective on this, because I didn't want to just give you a review and tell you, hey, I think this is great, and yeah, now I get a free tool. That's not what I want to do. I want to give y'all a real opinion, okay? So I heard one person, their opinion on this was they didn't like the fact that when they filled it up, there was dirt inside, dirt or something inside of the fitting. Now, I don't think that it's dirt. Personally, I think it's old clogged grease. It's really old ball of grease that's inside there. It hadn't been greased in a long time or something like that. I could be wrong about that. If somebody knows different, let me know. That's just my own thing. Whatever the case may be, the person's thought on it, why they didn't like this product, was because when you put it on there, you're forcing whatever that is, whether it be dirt or whether it be grease, whether it be rust, whatever it is, you're forcing it down into there and around where you're trying to grease, okay? And I gave that some thought. Because at first I thought, man, that is a good point, okay? But after thinking about it, I've decided, what's worse? You put that little tiny bit of something down inside there, or do you just not grease it? I mean, to me, greasing it is the best option. But not only that, we've all been there where you take your grease gun, it won't quite take grease, and you push a little bit harder until it does take grease, okay? That doesn't always work. But the point is whether you're pushing it in with a grease gun or pushing it in with this, you're still pushing something in there. So to me, it's kind of irrelevant. You're going to have to get that grease zerk cleaned out. You're going to have to get all of that cleaned out in order to use this. What I like about this is you can use a very thin penetrating oil to push through there, push it all completely out, clean it out completely, and then go back and fill it up with that. Personally, just intuitively, I think it's still worth doing. But whether or not the product's any good, I don't know yet. So let's try that out. All right, guys, so this is a good example of a lubrication. It's a multi-purpose penetrating oil, penetrating lubrication, whatever you want to call it. This would be a good example. It's a thin oil. Now you can also use something like a WD-40 or something like that. Anything like that can work. So I do want to warn you that they tell you not to use aerosol. So obviously I'm not saying to use a pressurized can or something like that, something that might have aerosol in it. What I'm talking about with WD-40 or any of these things is there's no pressure in it. It's just liquid. That's all it is. So what you might would do if you wanted to use WD-40 would be go buy a gallon or something like that. Go get something, you know, and it will give you directions of things that you can and cannot put in there. Now, me personally, I've checked this. I have not seen anything on this. And I like this right here. I like Marlboro Mystery Oil. It is one of my favorite solvents. It's one of my favorite cleaners. It's an actual solvent and an oil. To me, this has helped with more problems than anything I've seen. I've talked to a lot of different millwrights and mechanics in their profession, and this is one of their favorite things right here for actually breaking up any rusted plate, anything that just really needs to be penetrated in there. And that's because it's actually got a solvent in there as well. This works really good. A lot of people likes it in their engines and all like that. I'm not advising you with anything like that. I'm not even saying that, you know, I read this to make sure that it was right. Do your own research, make sure that it actually works with what the company is suggesting. As far as what I could tell, it did. But me personally, I like this product. So I'm going to use this product to clean it out as a solvent, okay? I like this syringe. It makes it easy. Now, when you do this, you don't want to go too full because you want both of these seals to actually go past there. But at the same time, you don't want any air because the air is going to make this thing bounce, okay, if you put any air in there. So I'm going to let it actually seep out around it, okay? And I would rather actually have to force it in there. That's just my thinking. I haven't actually done this yet, okay? Okay, so we're in there now. This is my first time doing this, and we're doing this together. Now, if you want to use, we'll just grab me an old light hammer I've got here. I've been doing a lot of work on this thing, so you are going to have to excuse the mess. Make sure it's cleaned out. Got quite a bit of dirt in there, so I'm going to clean that out first. An air compressor is a good thing when you've got this, when you've got one of these protective rings around here to clean that out with. I don't care what you say about it, you need a pair of safety glasses for this. Might not even hurt to put on a pair of earplugs. Sometimes a good air compressor is all you need to get this back going again. All right. Fit that over there. Make sure it's right. And then just light taps is my understanding. You're not trying to force it all in there at one time. Make sure I'm actually going down. See anything seeping out anywhere? What do you see, Mr. Cameraman? See any liquid coming out anywhere? Mm-mm. That is a very stuck. That one really is got a lot of stuff in it. Like it really does not want to take grease. I didn't do everything that it said to do. So you need, after you fill it up is what the directions are saying, then you want to turn it upside down to get all your air up, and then they're saying to lightly bump it like that, which there is fluid coming out. So we're just going to do that just to make sure that it wasn't an air problem. It's very possible this Zerk is just so bad it can't overcome it. I don't know. I will tell you one thing. Most of the videos that I went and watched when I went and watched this were people doing this with Zerks that were not a problem at all, with just good brand new Zerks. So I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. This is something I literally do not know if this is going to take it. We're just going to figure this out together. See any fluid coming out anywhere?
Mm-mm.
So we can see right in there, it started to come out. I don't know if you can see it or not. Can you get any closer?
Yep.
It's just barely starting to come out a little bit. Now the directions do say that if you absolutely have to, see, I don't know if you can see the difference in lighting. Really can't very well. Anyway, there is a little bit of grease, of actual oil coming out right there where the grease would be coming out. So the directions do say that you may have to leave it sit overnight, and that's why I personally use Marvel Mystery Oil. Because Marvel Mystery Oil, when it sits on something for a while, it can start to get rid of rust and things like that. If this grease Zerk was something like this one and it wasn't taking grease, it's possible that it's already started to rust and seize up in there and that it needs some actual work. I mean, you can tell how bad this one must have been. A lot of these grease Zerks, like this one right here, the way the pin works now, I actually really like it. The grease goes down into the center of the pin, and then it has a hole in the pin itself, and so it goes down into the pin and then comes out of the pin and actually surrounds the pin like that, rather than coming from an outside sleeve and into that. I don't know why I like that better, I just do, for a lot of different reasons. That's not for this video. Whatever the case may be, this is to me, this is a very hard spot. So I'm not looking at this and thinking that this is a bad tool yet. I may decide that later. But at this point, it may just have to sit. I mean, this is a bad spot. We're just trying to make sure that we don't have air because this end came out. So because of that, I'm making sure now that I'm tapping and I'm hitting. I'm doing a pause tap. So tap and then stop. And I've done everything it said to do to make sure that I don't have airlock. Because if you have airlock, then you're not going to get the same compression, because air compresses, but this liquid is not going to compress like that air would. So your goal is to make sure that you don't have any air and you're just simply hitting that hard liquid and forcing it in there. And I'm hitting fairly hard at this point. And I am getting some penetration. So at this point, guys, I don't think I can continue to give this a fair review without letting this sit overnight. The company does say that in some cases, you are gonna have to let that sit. Now, why do I think that this tool is still worth reviewing, even though it hasn't immediately cleaned this out for me? Well, because I do have oil in there. What that means is I have actually successfully forced enough oil in there to sit and start to break this down. I can pull this away, or I can leave it on there and allow that oil to sit down in there, slowly penetrate, and begin to do its job. Using something like a Marvel Mystery Oil, that's going to actually start to help break down and act as a solvent and clean that up. So far, I would say that it's still a win. It's hard to say for sure just how good it is without trying it on some other grease zerks. This grease zerk could have just simply been a terrible grease zerk. It's really difficult to say. So let's try a couple of these other grease zerks and just see. Keep in mind that all of these are some pretty bad spots. I'm going to actually put just a little bit of this old grease on this grease zerk, and maybe that'll keep this tool from getting stuck on here. Like I said, guys, y'all are learning with me on this. I want y'all to come along for the ride. This one's going in.
Mm-hmm.
You see it coming out somewhere? Anywhere?
I don't, but
yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I see it now.
Yep.
Right.
So that
right
one
there.
actually went right in without any problem. Well, a little bit. I mean, it took some force for sure. This one wasn't taking grease either. So let's see what happens now. Let's see if it has some grease at this point. Look at that.
Yep. Look right there.
Now I am going to push all of that old nasty stuff out. Okay, I'm actually out of grease in my grease gun. All right, let's try this other one. Let's do 3 out of 3. All right, guys, so we got filled back up. I put a little bit of grease in the hole to help us to be able to free this back up again. And this time I did this right. Went for a minute and then we stopped. It's going. It is going. Okay. It took it all. Both of these took it all. We'll have to get my screwdriver. Looks of it. Alright, but we took it, so let's see if it takes grease. 2 out of 3. It's better than none. Hear it going in.
I see it. It's coming out.
Where's that?
Down, way down there. Below it.
There it is. Now, like I said, I feel like I want to run it out a little bit more than normal because you want to run out all that old nastiness. Let's just see for kicks if this will take it now. No, still ain't going to take it. Now, the company said you may have to let it wait overnight. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to let it wait. And then we're going to come back to y'all and tell you an honest review. Y'all saw what happened. I had 3 grease zerks that would not take grease. I didn't know what they were going to do. 2 out of the 3 did take it. They're a little hard going in, but they did take it. This one right here, it took it. It's going to sit. Okay? Let's come back tomorrow and see what happens. All right, guys. So we've been running this for I don't know, it's probably been about 8 hours since I did this. Not exactly sure, I could be wrong. Now, what they tell you to do is to lock this on here and to leave it there. And what that does, at first I was actually complaining about it just a little bit at the beginning of the video about this being so hard to come off. But I think the reason it's so hard to come off is because it needs to detent the little ball inside the grease zerk. Okay, and that allows this to slowly seep any oil you have, all the lubricant, down in through it. Okay, so actually, now that I've given it some thought, I actually like that feature about that, being that it will slowly seep that in there. With that being said, I did not even leave this on here. I knew I had gotten some down in there, so I just walked away and I went and used this. Okay, I went and used it for a little while. First, I fixed this. Y'all saw that this was messed up. You can go back in the video and look at it if you want. I got all this fixed back up, got it greased back going, you know, everything's going good with this one. And then I went back to work. So I only worked with this for a couple hours, but it's been probably 8 hours since I originally did this. Now, I want to go ahead and give this a shot. Like I said, I did not leave this on because I was using it. Ideally, what they're telling you to do is to leave this on and to leave it maybe even overnight if it's a really bad grease zerk. Now, the problem that I see with that is that most of my grease zerks are going to be sideways. This one happens to be up and down, so we are fortunate in that regard. So let's just see if it works. Okay. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm actually seeing it splash out the side there. So it is shooting it through. All right, that's good. So what I've learned with this is if you can't tap it the way I'm seeing it, don't do it. You're already doing it too hard. Do it a little bit harder. If it won't do it, let it sit and rest for a little bit. So now let's see if it'll take some grease. Coming out?
Oh yeah.
It is? Where's it at? Oh yeah. It's real liquidy right now because it's got to push all that stuff out. And I highly suggest pushing it out because like that person has suggested to me, it's forcing junk in there. So you really want to try to clean that out.
That's a lot.
That looks good to me there. Yep. That's 3 out of 3. The first 2, they wouldn't, you know, all 3 of them wouldn't take grease. The first 2, it worked, you know, right off the bat. This one, I had a little bit of trouble. Part of it was actually my fault. I should have turned it upside down like that and bumped it a couple times. I didn't read directions. You know how men are. So I should have done that and I didn't. Okay, so that was my fault. My thoughts on the tool, like I said, y'all are going to make your own thoughts. But overall, it is a quality looking tool. I do like it. These gaskets are good and strong. These little gaskets that are on here. I know that they're strong because when I was really hitting on it, I still wasn't having anything come back in here, and it was working really well. Honestly, guys, it's a win. Now, is it a win for everything? I don't know. It's hard to say. When you get a grease zerk that's on the side like this, and you can't leave it and let it seep down in, like this one right here, you could seep down in there. No, that's not going to work quite as good as what the company is saying that it could work. But at the same time, I didn't leave it on this one. All I did was get some in there, and then that was enough for it to sit for just a couple hours and then be ready. And honestly, that went really well. I mean, y'all saw how much I was fighting it. Part of it was my own fault, but then even afterwards, it was still having a pretty good bit of trouble. And that's because that grease zerk was pretty bad. So overall, I do think it is a win. I do like it. I'm happy that they sent this to me. I intend to keep it in my arsenal. It's up to you whether you buy it. If I have a link, I'll drop a link down in the description. Thanks, everybody.